And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I'm talking with Jamie Seeker. Jamie, thanks for being with me today.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
You are welcome. It is going to be a fun conversation because Jamie does something that, I think most business owners need in a drastic way. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute to help us take our business to new levels of productivity, alignment with people and things. But Jamie, as we get into that, tell us, how in the world did you get to doing what you do today?
Oh gosh, well, it certainly wasn't a straight line. I think everybody's got their own journey. Here's mine. I was working in a nonprofit. I thought I would be there. I was making my own career. I had been there for about a decade. It was in operations as well. And so, we went through some really crazy things. We went through recessions. We had ups, downs. Nonprofit is its own little beast. And so you kind of learn, everything there is to know about everything that needs to be done. But being there so long, we had many obstacles, challenges, changes in leadership, who just had different views, different styles, and kind of built their own teams. And I ended up losing my job, which was something that I never foresaw because of, my work ethic and my values and everything I brought to the table. It just never occurred to me that my path would change in that way. And that brought me to small business. I ended up managing a small business. It was a OBGYN practice, had a couple of doctors, nurse practitioners, and it was really great because I took my big, nonprofit doing all the things, and it translated really, really well to small business. The only difference was I was coming from a really big organization, a big, well-known, world-renowned nonprofit. And this one, my policies and processes and ideas and things were like immediate, whereas before it was just a really small cog in a very big wheel. And so, not to say that I didn't feel like I made a difference there, but this was I had never experienced anything like this, and I just caught the bug. So that was a really big part of my journey is going to that. And when you're in an operations seat and leadership role, but you're not in a bigger organization and connected to others, I think I really sought out a mastermind group, places where I could have peers and people that I can talk to, bounce ideas off of, learn from, mentors, things like that. And all of them were business owners. And it was kind of weird because as my time kind of transitioned at the practice, a lot of them were encouraging me to kind of step out on my own. They were like, we all go to you anyway, and they were first they were wanting to bring me into their organizations. And I thought that kind of made me pause and think, wait, I think I'm selling something here. I just never knew that I was.
Yeah.
So I had to figure out what that was. And I defined some things that I could do. And that was, really it all stem from operations management. So whether it was, financials or human resources or, learning and development, those are just some of the solutions that we have. And it's all things that small businesses need. So I had to figure out, how to, sell those as a solution. And we've done that. So that was my journey on how I got to where I'm at today with Seeker Solution. And so that's what we do now. We work with small businesses and help them to, kind of offload some of those operational duties that really bog you down as an owner. So
Yeah. Unpack that a little bit. Like what? And not that my audience is sitting there going, well, I don't have any of those, but give me 3 or 4 of those offloading things that help really free the entrepreneur, the business owner to elevate more to a CEO role, hopefully, right?
sure. So I think that, part of the CEO's journey, if you're a founder, part of your dues or your, that you have to pay is doing all the things because you start out with just you. But as you learn and you grow and you start your scale, you start to scale your business, you really need some more hands on deck. And first of all, just identifying what things you want to hold on to and what things that maybe I should let, yes, you can do, but should you do, what things do you want to kind of let go of and let some experts step in
Yeah.
and take charge of. So I think that there's kind of a big spectrum, and it really just depends on what your personality is and what your company's needs are. So if you're a creative, you might want to hold on to the social strategy and overseeing all that creative stuff. Or you may be a people person and you love training and you love, pouring into people, and that's really your role. But if those two things usually are not on the same plate.
That's right. Yeah. You ain't kidding, girl.
And neither is like process management, for example. So like, what is the fastest way to get from point A to point B? Are you putting out, do you have standard operating procedures? People who are, rule followers and go by the book typically aren't the ones that are creating, all of the things. And so not to say, I think entrepreneurs kind of have a little bit of all of it, right? But you do have some of those things that you really lean toward. And so if you're listening to this today and you're thinking like, okay, how does this really apply to me? Well, what are some of those tasks that you just like dread doing that you're just, okay, I have to do this, but you put it off and you like procrastinate on it forever? Those are probably things that don't come naturally to you that you can do, and you probably do well enough that has gotten you to where you are today. But why keep it on your plate? There might be somebody who absolutely loves it. It's the first thing they pick up every day. And so maybe it's numbers. Maybe it's like, I don't know, I'm always feeling like I'm in a reactive state. These numbers, my cash flow is whatever. Like, I don't know, whatever. And so everything that you do and all of your strategy is surrounding what the cash flow is telling you and afterward, not before. And
Not
so
before.
that's where you would say, okay, maybe I can have somebody else come in, take a look at this, and we turn the ship around and start making proactive decisions instead of reactive decisions. So yeah, to answer your question, I would just start with yourself and say, what do I do every day that I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this?
Yeah. What are those things that make you want to say, give me a stick, I want to poke me in the eye. Really, I don't want to do this. Or you'd rather go to the dentist than do this job, right? This
task. And I'd say on the flip side, the things that you keep are like, what's the first thing you pick up every day? What's the first thing that, what gives you life? What makes you want to, is it really that, oh, I really do love like training people. I'm a collaborator. Let me talk to you. Well, then you should train. You should be the one, teaching others how to do those things in your company that only you can do. It'd mean a lot more and all that kind of stuff. So really, if you can identify like the things that you're good at that give you life, that you naturally gravitate toward, those are the things you keep. And those are the things that we help you to identify and really push you into there.
Well, and I think that's great. And I love your background with masterminds. I've been in masterminds for 11 years and tell my clients all the time, be in a mastermind group, because you learn from so many people, right? And what I'm hearing between the lines as you're talking, Jamie, is you have the experience that somebody could reach out to you and have conversations with you to go, because as entrepreneurs, we may or may not know what those things are really detailed, and we have a hard time letting go of them, right? Finances is not my strong suit. And it took me a while to really just give that away. And it is so freeing, because now I have mental capacity and freedom to do other things that are not draining me. But I needed somebody to kind of press into me and say, dude, stop it. Give that to somebody else. Is that kind of how you work with people? Do they come to you a little cloudy, I guess, in wrestling with, or do they come to you and say, here are the 3 things I need off my plate? What's typical for you?
I would say it's a pretty even, you kind of get it all across the board. Some come to us completely desperate. In fact, I think that's where we have the most success. They're ready to either, like, it's really extreme, right? Like, I'm either going to close my doors tomorrow and we're just like never going to do this again. Or sometimes they have a very specific, hey, I need you to come in and do this, 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 and this. These are things that I absolutely, need help with. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm sought after. So it really just depends on where you're at in your personality too. I think plays a big part in that. But yeah, we've kind of seen all the spectrum, and we have a pretty good system to help you identify where you're at. If you have no idea, but you just have a feeling like you're always overwhelmed and you're overworked and, you can't get away from vacation, and coming back from vacation is worse than when you left. And it's like, this is why I never go. And all those kind of things. We have a ways to identify the feeling of, okay, look, let's get down to what it really is, and address the overwhelm, and really kind of we have our own system to that. And then we have other things where, even if they have a very good idea, our approach is kind of the same. It's like, all right, well, let's still explore what those things are specifically so that we can put some action steps and help you address some of those gaps. And here's how we can do that. So we get very clear on what the deliverable is, and everybody's kind of on board with what the action steps are before we do it. And then it's just a matter of execution. And we're here as like an accountability partner, and really just help oversee that change. And so we really do come in and help to ignite change, but change can only happen if you're ready for it. So that's the other thing is the reason why it's like we only have these guys either have a good idea or just like, come help me, otherwise we're going to close, is because I really don't talk to anybody that isn't asking for help.
Right.
If you're not ready for us, and that's the other thing we identify as well, is really just identifying that, maybe I don't need the change. I just need to tweak a little something, but the goal isn't what I thought it had to be.
Yes.
Everybody thinks the goal is to scale and grow and be bigger and better. And you know what? Sometimes we just identify like, you are saying all of these things, but nothing in your actions or in anything says that that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I don't also think you're willing to do it. So let's just like let go of that and embrace this and help you to maintain this. And sometimes that's what we do. We don't come in and, say, hey, we're going to take over and, this is a big part of your company. No, like we're really in here to identify what it is that your vision is, help you achieve that vision. And if that takes us 30 days or 30 years, we're on board for it. So
yeah. No, I love that, because too many times we're chasing the wrong thing, thinking that's going to get us something else. When if you have somebody like Jamie who you can talk with and work with, she might be able to, through conversation, understand, you know what? If you did this, this, and this, you're going to get that thing anyway. It's like, really? And so I've got a book back here that I read a lot, and it's called The Road Less Stupid. And the guy's built and lost millions of dollars. And he's like, if you ask the wrong question, you're going to get the wrong answer. And so his whole thing is asking the right question. And many times, just like you said, it's through conversation to say, what are you really trying to do here? What kind of life do you want, or what kind of business operations? And the other thing I want to unpack a little bit is business owners. So many times we have so many things going on. We think we might have to hire 2 or 3 people. And I think a lot of times somebody with your background and expertise can have that higher view of the business and go, yeah, no, maybe not.
Right.
Got some things there.
Yeah, that's absolutely something there. And I think that that's something we're intentional about too as a team, and we're all about efficiencies in everything we're looking for. And so the more that we kind of get involved with, a lot of times people have a hard time understanding, okay, so what is it that you do, and how is this going to work? And most of the time I will say a common thing that we see with the owners is they're like, look, I like what you're saying, and I know you can I know you can make a difference here. I just don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm going to kind of take that leap of faith. And then once we kind of get on track, they're just like, oh, this is, and they can kind of take a look back and see very tangible things. But yeah, I think that that's a really big part of it is putting in the efficiencies in everything that we do. Yeah. And then they have this understanding, right? Yeah. Of, okay, like this is going to work.
Yes, because that's the light bulb moment that's happened in my career many times, to go, oh, I don't have to do that anymore, because I've effectively built systems and hired people to do things I don't want to do. You don't know this about me, Jamie. I'm only good at 4 things in life, okay? Just transparent. I'm wicked good at these 4 things, right? So I've built my business around me so that I only do 1 or 2 of these things. And if it's outside of one of those 4 things, I've got somebody else doing it for me.
Right.
Right.
And so that's what we try to do. I think we usually engage because they don't really understand, but they're like, okay, we get you. We engage usually with one solution. We're like, we're going to try it out. We're going to do that. And then the more we have more solutions, and then the more things start opening up and they start understanding and seeing, they start to see the efficiencies in those in that one solution and what we do. But the more we get involved with, the more efficient the entire organization is. But I don't have very many consultants. I mean, there's like a handful of us that work with our clients, and some of our, we do have clients where all of us are working on that account.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there's just one of us doing one client, but our hands are in many different things. And it's how do you become effective, the most effective, not more and more time, more money, more people, more everything. It's like, well, no, let's get really, really good about, what'd you say? Those 4 things.
4 things. Yeah.
and if those things are done, then the rest fall into place. I mean, the 80-20 rule or whatever it is in sales and other things. I mean, it's the same thing with efficiencies. You figure out what those things are and the rest of the things fall into place. And so you put like 20% of your effort and it's going to give you 80% of your return, as long as you know what they are. And that's part of the identifying process when we kind of come in and evaluate everything, audit everything. And that's a really big fancy word, but all we do is ask questions, right? We just talk to your key people. We ask key questions and everyone knows the answers.
Yeah.
It's already there. It's just figuring out, okay, the solution might not be there, but the answers usually are. And so like how we get there is what we come in and help you guys, figure out. So
absolutely. Yeah. And there's such value in having that outside perspective, not only to be asking those questions, but to be bringing all that information that's within your business walls to the table, and then to be able to sit and stew on it a little bit and go, oh, here's the solution. Here's how you get greater efficiency. Here's how we're going to ignite change. I love that phrase, igniting change. And to align sometimes people, processes, so that we can have better profits. And it's not always about growing and getting bigger, because sometimes you can drive a whole lot more net profit by being smaller.
absolutely.
Do it right. But business owners, all they think about is net or
Revenue.
Yeah, I know we need revenue. I get that.
Yeah.
But if you're more efficient, you're going to be able to have a bigger lever, generate more net profit, which now you can put that back into lots of other things, right? That's how Jamie and her team help. They're instead of trying to hire somebody or somebody's, why don't you just reach out and have a conversation with Jamie and her team and say, here's what I'm up against. Here's what we're struggling with. How do you help us there? And I'm pretty convinced they're going to be able to help, because, and I love what you said earlier. If it's 30 days or 30 years, right? It's not like they're going to try to sell you into this, 18-month program. They're there to help and to understand what are you trying to make happen. And I mean, is that a fair summary?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think sometimes that scares business owners is bringing somebody in from the outside that I don't know. That's why we do podcasts, to get people to start getting to know you and understand, okay, what is the lay of the land here? And I love what you said earlier about when you went from nonprofit into that medical practice, you got to see some things happen pretty fast, because small business is nimble many times. We just don't know what to do. That is, I think, what slows us down. And if you have somebody who says, here's the pathway to take, go take it. And oh, by the way, I'll talk to you next week. Guess what? You start making progress much faster, because Jamie and her team can remove the dare I say, fear of making the wrong step, because we're just uncertain. It's cloudy. She can give you that crystal ball per se to go, no, it's this is the pathway. Here's our process. Is that kind of how it can work?
And I would just add to that. It's also, sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it really isn't that. It's just, you're wrapped up and you're distracted, and you get, you kind of get bulldozed by the weeds. We call it the weeds. And so, yes, it's good for outside perspective, but it's also better for higher level perspective. So sometimes my outside perspective I need to catch up and get inside perspective. So I think that's the big thing, is we try to stay looking with our eyes on the prize, and by staying high level like that and not getting sucked into the weeds, we are able to keep it moving forward. And so when I said, yes, sometimes it is necessary for us to step in and do some tasks, and sometimes it's our job to oversee and be that accountability piece. And it's up to us to identify where the gap is and how to fill that. And most of the time, I mean, it might be that you need to hire somebody, but that's where our HR solution comes in, and we help, everything from recruiting to onboarding to training and getting the people up to speed. And I think that's where we really come in as a lower risk, because we come in not with any kind of commitment or not a huge investment up front, whereas it's a lot of time and energy and, monetary investment as well when you hire somebody at a high level to come in and do something, and then it might not work because it might not be the right personality or whatever. And this is somebody who, if they're in a leadership position, they're going to be representing, the face of you. They're going to be a secondary, person. And so I think for us, we have that expertise behind us. We work with a lot of businesses, and we don't have a career path we're trying to pursue. There's really nothing there that it's really like, hey, what is your company vision? What do you need? And how do we make that happen? And we come in and identify what's the best way. Is it for us to sit in that seat for a minute? Yes, but it's never going to be any longer than 90 days. Right. So we're not trying to kind of take over any of that, but it's to help you stand on your own 2 feet. And that's really what we're trying to build foundation, not be, kind of intertwined where you become dependent on us, for that. And like I said, sometimes it might take 30 years. I don't have a 30-year client. I haven't been doing Seeker Solution for 30 years, but we do have clients who have been with us from the beginning. We have clients who were with us for 90 days. And it was like the perfect transition, brought us in because they didn't have time to hire anybody and train anybody and get in. So we stepped in, did the hiring while we were doing, kind of filling in that need. And then when we brought them in, trained them up and kind of let them go. And then we did regular check-ins so that they were kind of okay. And they were there for years afterward. And so it could be that, or it could be, we're still here with other clients and we've been there for, almost 10 years. Yeah. So it depends on personality. I think what you were getting at really is the risk level is low, and it really is up to you. There's no contract that you're in or anything. We really just, you can start with an assessment, and that could just be like hey, come in, do an assessment. Let's see what it is. What are the strengths? Where are our gaps? What do we need to do? What do you recommend? And we kind of come in, come out, and there's really no risk involved at all. Yeah. So that's something that, if anybody's interested in anything like that, that's really easy to find on our website. You can come and contact us or read about it up there. It's just called a business assessment. And yeah, I mean, that's all we do. We just ask a lot of key questions and with key people. And, most of the time we're not telling anybody anything that they don't know. They usually know it. And it's just a matter of like, what do we need to do about it? And sometimes once they verbalize it and talk about it, it's like, oh yes, like, okay, I'm ready. I need to do something about it.
That's right. And that's exactly right. And sometimes it takes somebody like Jamie to come in and just facilitate a little bit. And I love that this is low risk, no long-term commitments, but you can help somebody with as simple as an assessment to go, I don't even know what's going on in my business. I don't even know what questions to ask. Take the assessment, go to her website, do the assessment, and then find a way to engage with her and say, okay, well, maybe she can help you for 90 days. Maybe it's 6 months. Who knows what it is? It depends on what you need. But what you're hearing is somebody who has a vast amount of experience looking in businesses and helping you achieve the vision that you're after, and stop stressing out, stop working way too many hours, but find some, what was that phrase you used? Igniting change. I love that. Just finding those breakthroughs and realizing it doesn't have to be as hard as it might be right now. And if you need an outside perspective, Jamie's got some experience from lots of different worlds that I know she would be happy to share with you. So Jamie, where is this assignment? How do people take that next step? Where would they find you?
Sure. So my website is seekersolution.com. And on there under solutions, it lists kind of all the little services that we offer. But also, if you don't really know where to start, we do like a breakthrough call. And that's just talking me and you one-on-one about, some of these things. And that's more of a personal assessment where I typically will do with an owner. And you just go to our contact form and choose breakthrough call. And if you happen to know like what area or what solution might best apply, you can choose that as well. But other than that, I mean, if it's just really like, hey, I want to actually hire you guys to come in and do a business assessment, not just a breakthrough for me, but a business assessment. Same thing. You can go on there, just schedule the breakthrough call, and then you could just write in the notes, hey, we'd like to, this is really what we're interested in. And that'll come to me and we'll set that up.
That's awesome. Super simple. I love that. Seeker.
Really simple.
Yeah. Seeker right? Seeker solution.
Yep.
Seekersolution.com.
One solution. There's one solution, Michael.
It is. And that's to call Jamie. That's the
That
solution.
is.
I love that. So I'm going to have all of that in the show notes so that if you're out walking the dog or jogging or whatever, you can come back to this, listen to the podcast again, because Jamie dropped a lot of good insights and understanding. But I want you to have the links to her website. Reach out to her, take that assessment, have the one-on-one, help her, just talk with her. Because we are struggling in business and we don't need to. It should not be this difficult. And a lot of it's just because we're working outside of our comfort zone. If I'm outside of my 4 things, Jamie, it's uncomfortable and things aren't getting done.
Yeah, you don't need to do it alone. Yeah.
That's right. And so reach out to Jamie, see how she and her team at Seeker Solution can come and help you out. So all that's in the show notes. Jamie Seeker, thank you. This has been a very vibrant conversation, and I appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Michael.